So my name is Rashid. I am the founder and head business coach at my own company called Jigsaw Thinking. Just to give you a little background into what my experience exposure has been so far, is after school, I graduated the business school at University of Bath in the United Kingdom. So I studied business over there and was always interested in business. Wanted to start my own business right after university, but decided instead to join Accenture Consulting in London and spend 2, 3 years over there working on strategic consulting with Accenture, and met some amazing people, learned a lot also about driving change across a big organization over there. And then what I did is 3 years later, I decided I wanted to come back to India and start something of my own. And I did something I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, considering the field you're in, which is I started to read, learn about, and run a whole bunch of design thinking projects because I found the concept absolutely fascinating. As part of that, I launched a social enterprise called I for India, which was entirely based on design thinking, except we didn't apply it to design itself. What we applied it to was problem solving for NGOs. So I went across India, identified NGOs, partnered with them, found out what their problems were, and then I taught students and college students how they can solve their problems, the NGOs' problems, through design thinking. So the NGOs got a problem solved, the college students learned how to solve that problem, and I learned more and more about design thinking by putting it to the test and teaching others how to use it and using it myself across multiple projects as well. After a couple of years of doing that, what I did is I combined all of my learnings from business school, consulting, and design thinking to start business coaching independently. This was started as most of these things do. I stumbled into it because a couple of friends and people I met from the spaces I was working at were requesting me to come in and help with my experience to help them with their businesses. And I absolutely loved it. And ever since then, even when I told you I graduated business school, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I've been doing business coaching for a long time. And what I started 3 years ago is I started Jigsaw Thinking. Jigsaw Thinking is a combination of all of my learnings. And the mission we're on is to help guide entrepreneurial journeys across India. So far, over the last 3 years, we've helped 1,000 entrepreneurs start, grow, and scale their businesses. And the goal for us over the next 3 years is to ambitiously 10x that and help another 10,000 self-starters across India as well, because we believe that we want to grow the Indian economy through the power of entrepreneurship. So like Arun said, IDF is a great place to go to learn a lot about design. Just like that, what we are trying to do, because we can't teach you how to do your design skills better than IDF can, our goal is to help you with the business aspect of things. So if you are looking to be or already are a freelancer, a solopreneur, a small business owner in your field of design, our goal is to guide you on the business side of things so that you can create more impact and, of course, more profit doing what you love to do as well, which in this case is the field of design. My goal is to make it this type of guidance affordable, accessible, and make sure that you can action stuff. And today will be a small taste of doing just that as well. So heading into what today is about, I wanted to call out right at the top what the objective of today is and what the agenda for today is. Okay. One thing we're going to do is we're going to build out a 12-month roadmap. So the idea is, as entrepreneurs or budding entrepreneurs, we want to get clarity on the next 12 months, because the more clear we are, the more quickly and with confidence we can move forward. So that's the first thing that we're going to do. And the second thing we're going to do is, once we know what our roadmap is, we're going to walk through how we can actually implement the steps to take us on that particular roadmap. Now, before we get started with the workshop itself, what I'd love for you to do is to use the chat and just share with me your name, what you're up to right now, and please tell me about where you are in the entrepreneurial journey. So whether you are someone who is looking to start, has recently started, or has been running something for a little while, if you can just share in the chat where you are, I will tweak certain parts of the workshop as we go through the next hour together based on the responses I get. So I'll give you a minute, just share in the chat who you are, what you do, and where on the entrepreneurial journey you are, please. Okay, I'll just hold on for a minute to get some responses going. And don't worry about articulating it in the most beautiful way. You can be as crass as you want in terms of what you do. Okay, Vandana, thanks for sharing. Welcome to the workshop, UX designer, and you're selling merchandise offline. Got it. Thanks, Vandana. Okay, let's get a few more introductions in so I get to know the community a little bit better. Yes, Rahul, absolutely. Freelancing is definitely being an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur is anyone who takes their future in their own hands and is trying to create something from scratch. And so freelancing 100% falls under that. In fact, I advise all freelancers to stop calling themselves freelancers and start calling themselves entrepreneurs straight away. So definitely welcome. Hi, Prithvi. Educational entrepreneurship. Okay, that's awesome. I think in a certain way, that's the sort of space we're in as well. It just happens to be educating towards entrepreneurs. Thanks for making it. Hi, Garima. Okay, a month old. Congratulations on completing your first month. Hopefully we can help you with your future months as well. Aditya, UX designer. Okay, when you say working towards, I'm guessing you want to start being an entrepreneur sometime soon. Okay, got it. Okay, Alka, welcome. Future entrepreneur, great. Okay, awesome. Amrita, Alka, Puneet, welcome. Thanks so much for sharing. I'm going to have a couple of exercises you do during the workshop as well. So I'll use that time to get up to date with all of the introductions. But thank you for sending them in. I'll definitely take a look. And tweak the workshop accordingly. But welcome everyone. It looks like from the introductions I saw, we have a variety of people all the way from thinking about entrepreneurship maybe a year from now to you've been doing this for a little while now. Okay, so what I want you to keep in mind as we go through this is that you can just think about the situation you're in. If you've not started your journey yet, I guess think about it as a bit of a theoretical exercise and planning of how you would start off as well. Okay. At any point in time during the workshop, if you have questions, put your questions in. If there are questions that I can answer straight away, I will. If not, don't worry, I'm not ignoring you. I will make sure I answer any questions towards the end as well. But now that we have a little bit of context, let's get started to the workshop itself. And like I said, the first thing we're going to do is build our 12-month roadmap. Now, we're starting with this because of a really simple premise, which is that if you don't know where you're going, every turn you take is the wrong turn. Okay, so we have to be very, very clear about what we want to achieve and where we want to go over the next 12 months as entrepreneurs. Okay, so for those of you who haven't started your journey, just think about, imagine today was day one or tomorrow is day one, and think about doing this exercise. Okay. Now, when we're doing things like strategy, which is what this is, it can sometimes feel very vague and very fluffy. And it can also sometimes feel very alien for those of you who are very, very good at what you do, which is design, but might not be very experienced or exposed to building a business, right? So I have tried to simplify this process as much as possible. So over the next 20-25 minutes with this Build Your 12-month roadmap, what we're going to aim to do is really simplify strategy and apply it in our own context. So please don't listen to this as something theoretical. Let's listen to this. And if you have a notepad ready, you can actually do this exercise as we're moving forward with the workshop. Okay. Now, the simplest way to think about strategy is think about it like Google Maps. Okay. Google Maps helps you get to a particular destination that you're looking to get from where you are. The same way strategy helps you with your business get to where you want to be, considering where you are. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to Google Map our goals. Okay. Now, I want you to use the chat and just share with me. When you open up Google Maps on your phone, what is the first thing that you see? Or what is the first thing that pops up on Google Maps? Okay, so imagine you've just opened it. What do you see? Just share it on the chat. What do you think? Yeah, shows your current location. Got it in one, hole in one for everyone. Okay, it shows your current location. And that's where you need to start as an entrepreneur or as a business as well. You need to identify what your current location is. Now, on Google Maps, your current location is physically where you are. When it comes to a business, your current location is the simple numbers you have to be on top of. Okay, so the simplest number to keep a track of is to keep a track of over the last 12 months, if you have been in business that long, or it could be fewer months if you've been in business for 3-4 months, like I know a couple of you have. I just want you to put down what your monthly revenue is. That's it. If you haven't started your entrepreneurial journey as yet, your answer is really simple. Put a nice 0 at the start, because that is your current location. And that's where strategy starts, being informed about where you are. Okay. So I'm going to do this exercise as we go. So you should be able to see my Google Sheet on the screen. If you can you just type in the chat box, yes, so that I know everything is working as it should. Awesome. Thanks, Sonali, for letting me know. So like I said, all you're going to do is put in your current location. So I'm just going to take an example, okay, of, let's say I am a graphic designer. Okay, and I have been doing this for the last 6 months. All I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my last 6 months, like the average, and I'm going to say, okay, the average is I have been earning 30,000 a month. That's it. That's all I'm going to put in. Okay, so I'm just going to give you 10 seconds. Just note that down on your notepad as well so that you're clear. Okay, that's the first thing that you do with Google Maps. Now, as you are noting it down, I want you all to tell me again in the chat, what is the next thing you do on Google Maps? Once you know your current location, what do you next punch into Google Maps? Yeah, destination. Okay, I told you, my job is to make things as simple as possible. So there aren't many trick questions that are going to happen today. Okay, the next thing you do is you put in your destination. Where do you want to go? What is your goal? And as entrepreneurs, it's really important that we identify and take control of what our destination is. So we need to have a very clear goal of where we want to be in the next 12 months. So again, with this example, there is no major science involved. Okay, we are not Infosys or TCS where we have to take market trends and what's been happening over the last 10 years and figure, should we grow 5.8% or 9.6%? We don't have to do any of that scientific stuff. We can be far more driven by our ambition and by our gut because we are not, big companies already. So with this example, okay, whatever your numbers are, the principles are the same. All I'm going to put in is I'm going to say, if I am at 30,000 a month right now, at the end of 12 months, what level do I want to have reached? So what do I want my average to be? Right now, my average is 30,000 a month. What do I need my average to be to fund my lifestyle, to showcase growth, to perhaps start to accumulate wealth as well? Now, what typically happens is the simplest way to set your goals is to take your current location and multiply it by anywhere between 2 and 5x. Okay, now I say 2 and 5x not to give you a limit. Okay, if you are shooting for more, of course, feel free depending on what number you add to increase it. But what I'm calling out is typically when we see people earning anywhere between 20,000 rupees a month to 2 lakhs a month, anywhere between 2x and 5x a goal is the type of goal that is actually achievable, but it's ambitious enough to make sure that you're creative as well. So what I would do in this case is I would just say, okay, multiply by 3 and see how that feels. It is not scientific. It is about gut. It's about how you're feeling. The simple way to test this is if you are excited by the number, but you are nervous about how you're going to get there, that is a good goal to have. So the first criteria is you need to be excited. The second criteria is you need to be nervous. The third criteria is you need to be a little bit more excited than nervous. So if 90,000 is exciting to me, but I get a bit nervous about it, then it's a good goal. But if it's exciting to me and I get overwhelmed about having it, that goal, then it's a bad goal to have because I'm getting overwhelmed at the start. Okay. Now, for those of you, Jason, thanks for the question. For those of you, if you all are starting at 0, The only goal I want you to have is at the end of 12 months, don't worry about multiples because anything multiplied by zero is zero. I just want you to put out what is the goal monthly income you need to achieve to prove to yourself that this is something worth spending more time on. So typically what people do when they've started out at zero, and let's say they decide to do it on the side before going full time with it or committing, is what I've seen in a lot of example is if you are thinking about this and you are earning, let's say as an example, 50,000 a month right now, then your goal is at the end of 12 months, I need to be earning 50, 60, 70,000 a month to actually have the confidence to start doing this full time because I know it covers up my full time salary. Okay, so that could be the first goal that you set. So either do a multiple between 2 and 5 times. If this number is 0, then a multiple obviously won't work. Put in a number that is linked to your full-time role or your lifestyle, because that's the first milestone you need to hit. And it doesn't have to be 12 months from now. It could be 6 months from now, depending on the types of goals that you have. Okay. A big mistake a lot of entrepreneurs make when they're starting out in the initial phases is they either don't set a goal and then they're just running around floundering about saying everything is good or everything is bad because they don't know what their destination is. Or the second mistake people make is that they set goals without having any context of what their current location is. So they just randomly pull out a number, but make sure it's related to your personal context as well, right? Because your lifestyle might be very different to mine. So your needs and your numbers might be very different to mine. So I'm going to again give you 10, 15 seconds. Just put down a number. Don't worry, you're not putting this, you're not carving this number in blood on your skin or anything like that, right? So it's not here to stay. You can always tweak these numbers around, but just put in a version 1 of what your numbers are, okay? So just give you 10 seconds to put those in. And just to call out again, just like Jason, if you have any questions, just put them out there. If they're relevant at that point, I'll address them straight away. Otherwise, I'll address them at the end. Okay, next up on Google Maps, okay? You've got your location. You've then put in your destination. Now, what happens next, okay, is I want you to tell me the one feature that exists on Google Maps that you can use after putting in your destination, but most people ignore. In the normal way of doing things, you tend to ignore it. What is that feature? Okay, Puneet says add a stop. That's definitely one of them. Can you name 1 or 2 of the other features that you could use? Yeah, people check the mode. I think Alka put that out. You check the mode of transportation. Do I want to go by car? Do I want to go by bus? What route do I want to go? Are there any conditions I want to put on the journey? Because what you're telling Google is I am here, I want to get here, but I only want to get there if I'm going by bus, or I only want to get there by avoiding all tolls, right? So the next thing you have to do in your business journey is you have to put down conditions, but the conditions need to be about yourself, okay? And I'll give you an example of what I mean. One of my conditions, no matter what the location is for Jigsaw and what the goals are, one of my conditions is that we should be able to run the business from anywhere in the world, which means that clients should be able to join from anywhere in the world, and my team should be able to work from anywhere in the world. That's the type of business I want to grow. That's a condition I've set upon myself. That might not be the same condition for you. But what it does is just like with Google Maps, when you put a condition, it computes and says, okay, I have to get to this destination, but I have to get there by avoiding tolls. So I have to get there by making sure I can work from anywhere in the world. So here, I want you to be really selfish. I want you to put down a personal condition that is important to you that you don't want to break when you're heading towards these goals. Okay, because just like with Google Maps, where we tend to ignore this option, most entrepreneurs tend to ignore taking care of themselves and thinking about how they will continue to feel that fuel and that energy to keep going. So just put down what your condition is. My condition, like I said, is work from anywhere. That's very important to me. It doesn't have to be important to you. You could put in your own. Okay. So just think about it for a second and put down a condition. And I would love it if a couple of you can actually share your condition on Zoom, because it helps makes others think about the different conditions at play and whether they should have them as well. Okay, so I'll just give it 20 seconds. Just share your condition. Okay, Abhinav, similar to mine, remote working is important. Rahul, yeah, that's an important one, making sure you don't have to stay up throughout the day and night to do it. So sleep 8 hours a day, got it. Any other conditions, just share. Okay, we have another remote working. Yeah, the popular ones, at least that I have seen when I've run this workshop, tends to be freedom of location or freedom of time. So some variation of those two freedoms seem to be the most important. But if there's anything else, I'd love to be able to hear it as well. Vandana, wow, that's such an important one. Be able to manage work and childcare. That's got to be important, right? So what we tend to do is we have a lot of actually mothers within our community as well at Jigsaw, and they tend to set really specific conditions beyond childcare, the number of hours and things like that, because you can't ignore those and just make the perfect business strategy, because that's not taking care of the context in which you live, right? So very silly to come up with a business strategy that doesn't look at all of that. So thanks for sharing that. Okay, flexible working hours, ability to travel, location, time coming up again. Okay, so those are conditions. Now let's say that you've got your location, destination, condition. Then what comes up on Google Maps once you put those in? Okay, what button do you tend to hit? Okay, just share on the start on the chat. Yeah, you hit directions. You hit the get directions, that beautiful blue button that says get directions. And then what Google Maps does is it gives you alternate routes to get to your destination. And this is really important for all of us as entrepreneurs to know as well, that whatever goal we have, whatever our destination is, there are always multiple routes to get there. There is not only one route to get towards your goal. Okay, so normally what I see a lot is you'll go out to the pub with your friends or a coffee place, or be talking at work by the water cooler, and everyone will give you this amazing gyan of, oh, you want to get there. This is obviously the model. This person did it, that person did it. And though that might be true, you have to know that there are always different routes to get to the same destination. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you at least 3 to 4 of the most popular routes that can help you hit your goals in the design space as an entrepreneur. Okay. So just bear with me over here. We're going to start number crunching a little bit. Okay. So just stick with me for one step at a time. Okay. Now just focus on this over here. Please don't focus on anything else on the screen. Okay. Just the 3 things I have highlighted: number of clients, average deal size, and number of deals. So I'm going to take a really simple example to work this through. Depending on the business you are in or the business you are intending to start, you can obviously tweak these numbers around. But basically, if you want to hit any goal as somebody who is providing a service, you have 3 different numbers to play with that can help you get towards that goal. Getting to the goal is a function of how many clients you work with, multiplied by what price do you charge them, multiplied by how many deals you make with a single client. So a simple example would be, if I was working with 10 clients and I was charging them, each of them, 5,000 rupees, and with each client on average, I did 2 deals because they made me, I designed a logo for them, and then I designed some collateral for them as well. And both of them were, let's say, on average 5,000 rupees. Then I've done 2 deals with them. And if I multiply those together, that is getting me to 1 lakh. So it's basically telling me, if I want to hit 1 lakh a month, I have to sign 10 clients a month, charge them 5,000 each, and do 2 deals with each of my clients. Okay. Simple math. It's literally 3 factors and multiplying each of them. Now, what I've put over here, and now I want you to just focus on this over here. is that there are 4 different ways that you can get towards this goal. The first way is the democratized strategy. The democratized strategy is really simply, I am going to focus on getting lots of clients. So depending on what you do, your strategy could be, I am going to try and maximize the number of clients I work with. And that's the core number I'm going to focus on, which means my pricing is going to be low and I'm not going to try and get multiple deals. So in that strategy, the way I can get to 90,000 is I can work with 20 clients instead of 10. Every month, I try and do 20 projects, okay, as an example. I charge each of them 4,500 rupees, and that's it. So then what I'm doing is in democratize, the number I'm focusing on is number of clients. That's what I'm trying to maximize. The second strategy to doing this is differentiate, which is saying I'm not going to work with a lot of clients. I'm going to work with few clients every month, but I'm going to charge them premium for a premium service. So in that world, it might be, hey, I'm not going to get 20 clients a month. I'm going to get 2 clients a month. Okay, but each of the clients is going to be worth 45,000 bucks. And that's how I'm going to get to my 90,000. So as you can see in differentiate, you are working on increasing your pricing. That's the key thing you are increasing. You're getting to the same number, which is your goal, in 2 dramatically different ways. The third route you have, as you might have guessed, is the retain strategy, which is basically saying my focus is not going to be on number of clients and pricing, but my focus is going to actually be on number of deals I do with a single client, which is I'm going to focus each month on getting the client back. So I might work with only one client. I might charge them 45,000 rupees, but I will do 2 projects with them in a month because I'll get really good at giving them a great experience, retaining them and upselling them to my next service. So these are the 3 most popular ways of achieving a particular goal, especially within the design space: democratize, differentiate, retain. Now, which one you choose is dependent, of course, on the mission you're on what your personal preference is, and what the market is looking for at a particular point in time. But I would say the most important thing is figuring out which of these problems is the easiest problem for you to solve. Is it easier for you to keep signing new clients? Is it easier for you to increase your prices and be premium? Or is it easiest for you to upsell and retain your particular clients? Depending on which one is the simplest problem to solve, that's the strategy that will give you the most return in the shortest period of time. Now, as you will notice, I've put in a 4th one over here, which is combo, which is I might make a few changes on everything. So I might not go to 20 clients, but I might go to 5 clients. I might not go to 45,000, but I might go to 10,000. I might not try and resell a whole bunch of times, but on average, every 2 customers, one of them will sign up with me again. Okay. And as you can notice, this gets you to 75,000. So maybe what if I sign 6 clients? So this is telling me I have to solve all 3 of these problems, but I don't have to absolutely fundamentally change everything about what I do, because I can make small changes on each of them to get to my goal. I am not saying any one of these ways to do it is better than another, because it really depends on what your goals are, your preferences, your conditions are, your location is, your destination is, right? So that choice you need to make. What I will say is the way to make the decision is, again, which is the simplest problem to solve? Is it any one of these, or is it simplest to solve each of these a little bit? Okay. Now, I know for people who are within the design space, not all of you are like, yes, let's talk about numbers. But like I said at the start, when I think it was Rahul who asked whether a freelancer is an entrepreneur, I am treating all of you as entrepreneurs and as business owners. And if you are an entrepreneur or a business owner, you have to at least have control of your basic foundational numbers. And these are basic foundational numbers. So what I want you to share in the chat now is based on your gut instinct, based on what we've gone through so far. Which one of these four approaches do you believe you need to take either at the start of your entrepreneurial journey or the shift you need to make in your entrepreneurial journey right now to really grow your income and get to a whole new destination? So just tell me what your instinct is right now. Don't worry again. I am not going to hunt you down 2 days later and find out why you're not doing this, why you're doing something different. Just right now, what does it feel like? Do you need to democratize and sign more clients? Do you need to differentiate, increase price? Do you need to retain? Do you need to do a combo? Okay. Okay, so let's just share. Alka says in my order. So Alka, that means if I've got it right, you're first going to focus on more clients and democratize. Okay. Puneet says retain, got it. Amrita, democratize. Okay. I was waiting for the first differentiate and we've got that, Jason. Thank you. So differentiate, understood. Shakti, democratize. Okay, so I'm really glad you all are sharing this because it's really important to be clear about what strategy you're going to pursue. Because if you're not clear about what strategy you're going to pursue, what happens on Google Maps, if you do that, is going to happen to you in real life as well. If on Google Maps, you keep switching between different routes, you're just going to end up going in circles. Instead, it's far more powerful to choose the strategy and then focus all of your energy and creativity towards making that strategy a reality for you. Okay. I'm just going to pause this now because this is the basics of strategy. There are loads of more things you can do with strategy and really get into the nuances, but this is the basic level you have to have. I would recommend doing this exercise at least every 3 to 6 months. Okay. I have a follow-up question from Srinivasa about this, which is, can I explain combo? Yeah, so essentially in the combo option, what I'm saying is I'll make a small shift in terms of my number of clients. I'll move it up a little bit. I'll increase my deal size a little bit from 4.5 to 10,000. And in number of deals, what I've said is on average, maybe all my clients won't re-sign with me for a second logo or collateral. But out of every 2 clients, 1 client might come back to me. So I don't have to resell to every client. I have to resell to 1 out of 2 clients, upsell and retain them. Okay. Cool. So that is the basic fundamentals of strategy. So at this stage, all of you should have a little bit more clarity about where you are, what your goal is, what your condition is, and what your different routes are that you're going to focus on. Okay. Now, only once all of these are done, does Google Maps let you hit start and then gives you real-time updates about what to do. Now that you've chosen a strategy, the next question becomes, okay, what do I do to implement the strategy? So what I'm going to share with you now is for each of those 3 approaches that I talked about, to increase number of clients, to increase your deal size, and to increase your retentions and upsells, I'm going to share 3 ways in which you can do each. Okay. 3 different things we have to do: sign more clients, increase our deal size, retain and upsell more. So the first thing I'm going to share is how we can get more clients through the door and the type of clients that are well paying. Okay. And in answer to your question, pay on time. Okay. Now here is the core strategy that I want you all to embrace and lean into. Okay. Which is to create. And I'll tell you what I mean by create. What I mean by create is either create high value content. And I'll say it again, high value content does not mean high production value content. I don't mean that you have to go and hire a studio and videographers and get the world's greatest videos out there. That is not what I mean. It just has to be valuable content for the type of people you are trying to serve. So if I am trying to serve, let's say, product-based businesses, I will create value, and I'm designing for product-based businesses logos. I will create valuable content that helps product-based businesses. Because if I create valuable content for them, they are likely to come to me at a later point in time. So the central strategy is create. One way of creating is content. And other thing you can create is assets. And with this, I want you to lean into what you are good at. So if, for example, at Jigsaw, we are really good at creating worksheets and assets. So what we would do is we would create assets that are useful for our target audience. Our target audience are freelancers, solopreneurs, small business owners. So the type of worksheet I showed you on the screen, a more sophisticated version of that, we know is useful for our target audience. So we're creating assets like that that we can share with our audience. Because the more assets or content we create, the more likely people are going to come to us and we are going to have credibility and expertise. So you need to identify what content and what assets you need to create, because that is going to be your centerpiece to sign more clients. Now, I know for some of us, it feels like, oh no, we don't want to put ourselves out there, etc. We'll do word of mouth, etc. But that will only take you to a particular limit. I assure you, we understand where the market is going. If you don't create content or assets or both, then it's going to be very, very hard for you to sign the type of clients you want to sign. It's just going to be really hard because everybody who is really good at what they do and can do this is going to get those great clients. Okay, so the centerpiece is to create. Once you create this content and these assets, you're going to do 4 things with this. Number 1 is you are going to leverage your personal and professional network and their network, which means that what you're going to do is, if I was a graphic designer, I would literally spend time mapping out my network and my network's network, and I would share with them the content or the assets I'm creating to them and request them to share it within their network to people who might find this valuable. So we have to be okay with sharing our creations with our network, because that's the quickest win that you can potentially get. Okay, that's number 1. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to use this content or these assets to nurture the people who have either worked with you in the past or almost worked with you in the past. So they've come to you a while ago, they decided not to sign up with you, work with you at that point in time, or they worked with you, or they were just a lead who said something nice to you on LinkedIn. You are going to share this content and these assets with them so that even if they don't need you at that point in time, when they feel the need for graphic design, you are the first person that pops up at the top of their mind, because you are constantly sharing valuable stuff with them. The third thing you're going to do with this content or assets is you are going to identify partners and you're going to partner with them. Okay, so in this example, really simple, Jigsaw has partnered with Arun and with IDF to share our valuable content and our assets with you in the form of this workshop. That is going to help us in the future sign more clients and get more people onto our community. So just like that, you can use your assets and your content to partner with people who will give you access to the type of network that you need access to. Okay, for you, it might not be IDF, for you, it might be. And the 4th thing you're going to do with this content and these assets is you're going to go social. Now, when I say go social, again, I don't mean you have to be on all platforms all of the time and you have to suddenly become this influencer and change your whole life. That is not what I mean. What I mean is to start with, you at least have to go to any one platform that fits the type of work that you do and your personal preference, and you have to share your content or your assets. Okay? Because if you are not on a particular social platform sharing this type of stuff, it's very tough for people to find you. There are, of course, loads of different strategies, but just because we're a bit uncomfortable, it doesn't make sense to pass up one of our best opportunities, which is to go social. Again, doesn't have to be the best posts in the world. And I know for everyone in the design space, it's really tough to put something out there that you don't think is the best design piece of work you've ever done. But at some stage, we're going to have to get over that, because good enough content is good enough. It doesn't have to be the world's best content. It just has to be valuable to your audience. Okay. So I'll summarize again because I got a question on differences between network and nurture. Create content and assets. Your network is to your personal network or your professional network. Nurture is anyone in the past who you have worked with or almost worked with. So if you've been running a business previously, you might have already had people through it. Then you have to nurture them and keep sharing content with them. Because just because they didn't work with you that time doesn't mean they won't work with you now. Okay. Partner is find partners who have access to the type of target audience you want to serve and create value for them. And go on at least one social platform to share your value. This is the centerpiece strategy to sign more clients. Now, there will be loads of courses out there, influencers out there that will tell you all sorts of the 1,000 ways to sign more clients. I assure you, I have been through this process myself. We have guided 1,000 entrepreneurs already. We are constantly researching and figuring out what the case studies are, where the market is going. This is the strategy that is going to work for at least the next 12 to 18 months, if not longer. Okay, so just focus on creating value, whether it's through content or assets or both, and then sharing them in the right places at the right frequency. Okay, so that is the way you are going to sign more clients. Now let's move on to the differentiate strategy where you need to increase your pricing. Okay, so I'm going to share with you 3 really simple ways to increase your pricing. In terms of, and think about the situation where, let's say for a logo, I'm charging 10,000 and I want to leapfrog and say, okay, I need to become a 30,000 rupee a logo person. Okay, that's the example we'll sort of go with. Okay. The first thing that you can do is I want you to really leverage forms. Okay, and I know this seems super simple, but I'm going to tell you what it is and why it is. Forms are spaces for you to ask questions to prospective clients that makes them think about the answer and gives you an opportunity to make them think the way you want them to think, because forms ask you questions. And when I say 2 plus 2, you have to think of the number 4 because the question drives how you're thinking. And a form is a chance for you to keep asking questions. So you can ask questions like, what is your goal? What is the purpose of taking on this project? Why are you looking to do this project now? Is it a top priority for you or is it not? How quickly do you need this project done? Have you tried other ways of doing this project? Who else have you been speaking with? Why aren't you going with them? It's your opportunity to ask a bunch of questions that make the prospective clients realize that you have put a lot of thought into understanding them. And it makes you have the ability to pre-sell to them because the questions will define how they think. So you have to leverage forms, because if you do that, you are already positioning yourself as an expert because you're the one asking questions. When we were all in school, the teachers were the one asking questions and we were the ones answering, and the expert was the teacher because they're the ones who know it enough to ask questions. And that's the same way of thinking that you have to put out. You have to ask questions to make sure that your prospective clients are auditioning for you, not the other way around. And when you do that, you establish the type of relationship where you can become a premium operator as well. So leverage forms, it seems really simple, but they're really important. And there's a skill to designing really smart forms that do a lot of the positioning for you. Okay. The second thing I want you to do to increase your pricing is I want you to figure out your way of doing paid demos. Now, you don't have to follow all 3 of the ways that I show you. You might choose to go down one path, but I would suggest at least running an experiment with each one to see which one works best for you. So the second one is a paid demo. A paid demo, if I'm a graphic designer again, is something like me saying, okay, you want me to design a logo as the first part of the project of, let's say, a really big project where I have to do the logo and redesign social media collateral, website, etc. A paid demo is, instead of me saying, you know what, I'll do one piece of work for you and then you decide, which a lot of us do, is I would ask for payment and say, okay, you need to pay 5,000 rupees for this logo. Okay, please ignore the numbers. I'm giving you examples. You have to pay 5,000 for the logo. At the end of doing the logo, if you want to continue, this 5,000 will count towards your future amount. Because if you don't do paid demos, you are setting up to tell them that you are cheap and you will potentially do stuff for free. Okay, and I know that sounds harsh and that sounds crass, but I'm just telling you the honest truth. If you keep doing free demos, okay, then people are going to take advantage of the fact that you do things for free. But if you put a price to it and say something like the paid demo is this much, if you don't like the logo and you don't give it a 7 on 10 or whatever, I will give you a refund. That is still the same as doing it for free, but putting it down as a paid demo. So you're still putting your positioning as premium. Okay, so the second option is for you to do paid demos. Paid demos only work if you're very, very clear what your paid demo process is. If you're not 100% clear and it's feeling shaky to you, stick with forms as your main way to increase your pricing. And the third thing I want you all to take the risk of doing, okay? And again, this feels counterintuitive because for all of us who have done projects, what we tend to do is we tend to find a client, figure out their requirements, come up with ways to solve it, and right at the end share, oh, by the way, this is our pricing. And then there are crickets. You can't hear anything from the client. What I want you to do is I want you to put down something called the MIR right at the beginning of your conversations with your clients, which is your minimum investment required. The way this works is if you get someone interested in what you have to offer, one of the first things you do is, if I was combining these, the way I would do it is I would send them an email or a WhatsApp and say, great, thanks so much for getting in touch. This next step is really simple. What you have to do is fill up this form to make sure that I understand your requirement better. But I want to make sure that neither of us are wasting our time at the outset. So I want to let you know that the minimum investment required to work with me on logo design, brand collateral, etc., is this much money. Would you like to continue the conversation? Okay, so it's very important to have this minimum investment required, because if you don't put out there that you have a price involved at the start, then at the end, any price you share with your potential client is going to come as a surprise. So much better for you to spend a lot of time with the people who are genuine prospects than for you to spend loads of time on someone who's not a prospect and who's going to continuously negotiate with you at the end. But imagine if you set your MIR, shared it, and still a client wanted to speak with you, then you know that you have already positioned yourself as premium. And you're not going to get negotiated with as much at the end. So these three strategies, you can use only one of them, you can use two of them, or you can use all three of them, but it depends on your particular space. What I would recommend as non-negotiable is item number 1, which is a form, and number 3, which is minimum investment required. I know minimum investment required seems tricky and seems counterintuitive and scary, that, oh no, I might lose the prospect straight away. I should show them how amazing my work is before I share the price. I understand all of those ways of thinking. But if you don't share it, you won't be premium and you will constantly be negotiated with. So 1 is non-negotiable. MIR is something I would really like for you to experiment. Paid demos works if it fits within your space and what you do, in the nature of what you do. If it doesn't fit, don't force fit it. Okay, those are the 3 ways you're going to work on increasing your pricing and your deal size. Now let's move on to how to increase retentions and upsells. And over here, I'm going to share with you 3 shifts you have to make. Okay. Shift number 1 is, most people, whether it's on a call or conversation or WhatsApp or IG, wherever you get your leads, what we start doing is we start pitching. We start saying, oh my God, I can do this logo for you. I can do this logo so well. Look at my portfolio. I've done all of these amazing things. I can do the same thing for you. But instead of pitching, when you want to increase a retention after you have done, let's say, that logo, again, I don't want you to pitch and say, look at the amazing stuff I can do for you. I can also design website, etc., etc. Here's my proposal. Instead of pitching, I want you to start asking questions, which means that towards the end of a project, let's say I'm doing a 2-week project where I'm ending up with a logo. What I would do is at the end of week 1 and the beginning of week 2, I would start asking the client questions about their future needs. I would start asking them questions like, hey, great, once we have this logo, where are you going to use it? Oh, you're going to use it on social media, your workbooks, etc. That's really cool. I know we've just done the logo, but do you have a brand style guide in place to implement this across your social media and your collateral? Do you need help? Do you have an in-house designer to do social media and collateral for you? I would keep asking questions that makes them realize what their next need is. So if you want to do retentions and upsells, forget about pitching. You just need to ask the right questions to make them realize, oh, I have another need. I'm already working with this person. Why would I go look for another person to work with? So that's shift number 1, asking questions. So I want you all to have a bank of questions that you're ready to ask your client once they've signed up with you. Second thing and shift you're going to make is you're going to stop telling them what you do and what you did, and you're going to show them what you do and what you did. So in this case, let's say again, I'm doing the logo. I would show them at the end of week 1 or close to the end of week 2, look at the logo I was able to create. Here was my work in progress. This is how we came up with the logo. Get them involved in your process of what you do. And then I would show them and say, you know what I took a crack at is you had this social media post, but I was thinking, wouldn't it be cooler if we could do something like this and show them a before and after of the social media post? If the next project I want is to create social media templates for them. So I would show them what I can do in the future related to the questions you ask them, as opposed to tell them, oh, I can create social media templates for you. And the final thing I would do in terms of making a shift for retention and upsells is the most tempting thing and the mistake most of us make is when we have a client, let's say I finished the logo and I want to upsell social media collateral and retain them. What I end up doing is I say, oh, you got the logo. I can also do social media collateral for you. And the client says, oh, great. Okay, let's talk in a couple of weeks. And you say, yeah, sure, I'll follow up. And then there's WhatsApps, calls, emails, and it goes round and round and round and round. Because we have let that happen later. Instead, we have to focus on now, which means that I would ask them questions about their need. I would show them what I can do for them. And then I would establish the urgency and the timeline for the next set. So I'd say, okay, cool, you've got your logo. As a business owner, I'm sure you need leads as well. And it seems like Instagram's your main way of getting leads. So it's obviously important for us to get our social media in place, right? Don't worry, I have the capacity, even while I'm finishing up this logo, to get started on your social media templates. Would you like to go ahead so that in a week you have your logo and your templates ready to go? So your next 2 weeks social media is taken care of. And so I would create that urgency and look to close the retention or upsell now, because once a client finishes a project and if you give them time, what happens is exactly what happens when we go to watch a movie. Imagine you've gone to watch the Avengers movie. Okay, when you're watching the movie, you feel like a superhero. You're one of the Avengers, you're Iron Man, you're Wonder Woman. Amazing things are happening. Okay, forgive me for saying Wonder Woman's in Avengers for all you fanatics there, just an example. Okay. What happens is after you watch the movie, you go back home and the next day there's traffic, you have to figure out food, it's raining, etc. And you start to forget about how amazing the movie was. And so your enthusiasm keeps going lower and lower and lower. And you forget about how valuable that social media collateral would have been for you. And that's not on the client, that is on you, because you didn't make sure that they close the deal immediately. So that's the third way to increase retentions and upsells, making sure things happen now, not later. Okay? So I'll just summarize the three things that we focused on. Increasing number of clients is all about creating content and creating assets that you share with your network, your past clients or potential clients that you nurture, making sure you partner with people, and making sure you go social. The second thing we discussed was how to increase our prices, and we talked about three methods: using forms really assertively and aggressively, paid demos if it fits within your market and the type of thing that you're doing, and establishing a minimum investment required, your MIR, and sharing it with your potential customers straight off the bat. And the third thing we talked about is to increase retention and upsells. There are three very important shifts you need to make. You need to go from pitching to asking questions, from telling to showing, and from later to now. Now, depending on what you identified as your strategy, right, you might need to implement all of these changes a little bit at a time, or you might need to focus way more on one or two of these shifts as opposed to all of them. So what I want you to share in the chat now is we went one level deeper from new clients, increasing pricing, increasing retentions, right? We talked about specific shifts and tactics you need to use. What I want you to share in the chat is think about and share what are the first two shifts you are going to make for your business and for your growth. Is it the forms? Is it the upsell later, not now? Is it the show, not tell? Is it creating contents and assets? What is the first shift you need to make to really grow your business? Okay, just share, and what you're actually going to implement. Remember, this is not some theoretical exercise where you feel good for an hour and a half about focusing on your entrepreneurial journey, whether it's current or future. It's about what shifts you'll actually make. So Akhil has shared forms as the first thing. Great, Akhil. So I want you to go straight away, go to Google Forms or type form or SurveyMonkey or tally.so or whatever your provider is that you want to explore, and start to design a form that you can start sharing with your prospective clients straight away, and start testing them out and seeing what works and what doesn't work. Okay. Yashraj says creating content. Awesome, Yashraj. Creating content used to be one of the toughest things for me, but now it's become a system and become really simple for me to do. But earlier it was really tough. So if you are just starting, I strongly recommend coming up with really simple goals for yourself in terms of creating content. You don't have to go from zero to being Gary Vaynerchuk and creating content every second and amazing content straight away. But at least have a goal of, I will create a 30-second video today. I will, just record a voice note and share it tomorrow, right? Have simple goals. Puneet, minimum investment required. Also, make sure you calculate it and share it at the start of a prospective client's journey, okay? Because it's going to save you a lot of time, headache, negotiation, etc. Okay. Alka got yours, asking questions and minimum investment. Okay, so the deal size piece. I'll just get a couple of more of you to share in case you have clarity on what specific tactics that we talked about you are looking to implement. Okay. Okay, I'll just give it 30 seconds. And I know we had a couple of questions come in. Like I said, once I complete the workshop, I'll hang back for 15 more minutes, answer any questions that go unanswered. Okay. Okay, perfect. We had a few shares. What I would like to do with 15 minutes to go is I want to share with you an opportunity we have at Jigsaw to get the next level of support and guidance as well. In line with our mission. So if I have your permission, do you mind if I share that for 5-10 minutes? And after that, we can go to the overall questions we have about your business journey. Right. So can I just get some confirmation on the chat whether you're okay with that? It'll just take about 5-10 minutes, like I said. Okay, thanks, Puneet. Thanks, Alka. Is everyone else okay with it? Would love to see more than 2 people be okay with it. Otherwise, I have a problem. Okay, thanks, Akhil. Thanks, Naman, got it. Amrita, Sonali, thanks so much for sharing that. So I'll just take a few minutes to share that opportunity with all of you. In summary, as we know for today, The goal was to help you build a 12-month roadmap, at least a V1 of what that is. Worst case, you at least know how to build that roadmap with those different options we talked about. And we figured out what our next steps are, right? So very important to me that when I set out an outcome, we actually achieve it, because there's no point giving a bunch of gyan, y'all feeling good and that you learn something for a while and nothing happening. So I'm glad that has happened. Now, what I would like to share with you, like I said, is Jigsaw's opportunity. Let me just give you a bit of context about how we came up with what we do. We basically think that there are 3 ways for you to get support with your entrepreneurial journey. Like I said, whether you're on it right now or whether you want to be an entrepreneur in the future. The first one is the classic DIY it. I'll watch YouTube videos. I'll listen to Spotify podcasts, etc., and I will figure it out myself. And the good thing is it's free. The bad thing is there's a sea of misinformation out there. There's so much stuff that you can really get lost. And most of that information is about how to become $1 billion business. Nobody is helping you build a small but scalable, structured design business or build your career as a freelancer. The second option is to do one-on-one business coaching. The good thing about business coaching is you get really expert guidance on how to grow your business. The bad thing, and I know this firsthand, is I charge people who do one-on-one business coaching with me $75,000 a month for my guidance, because I've been there and done it before. Now, that shouldn't be how much you have to invest to grow your business. And I know I'm part of the problem for a few of my clients. I actually work with bigger businesses on a one-on-one capacity, but it shouldn't be your only option to get expert guidance as business coaching, because for those of you who can do basic math, it's close to 10 lakhs a year to get that type of insight. And if your goal is to make 1 or 2 lakhs a month, that is absolutely ridiculous, right? It just doesn't make sense. The third option is you can do online courses, right? Online courses are great. They give you a lot of access, a lot of knowledge. They're very good to a certain point. I personally don't think they're good to help you build a business. Courses are good to build domain expertise, like IDF offers, right, towards design courses, because you learn and you build domain expertise. Entrepreneurship doesn't work that way. Online courses are not going to help you become a better entrepreneur, because you have to learn and do. And so if you just learn stuff, it's really not helpful. So what we came up with is something called Jigsaw HQ, which is Jigsaw headquarters. And the idea is if you grow, your business grows. And it's tried to combine the best parts of each of the options that I shared above. Okay. So it's a community coaching platform where we coach a community of freelancers, solopreneurs, small business owners, and aspiring entrepreneurs on their entrepreneurial journey. And we do a 1-year membership because we don't believe entrepreneurship is short-term, it's a long-term journey. So the minimum membership is a 1-year membership onto the platform. You get expert guidance because every week we have an expert session that we run on a particular aspect of business that helps you apply a particular business concept. So twice a month, every alternate week, that's me and I break down a business concept. Every alternate week, it is a domain expert who comes in and actually helps you understand a different business service and how you need to implement it within your business. Okay. What happens after getting the design guidance? Okay. And I got a question straight away that I'll answer. Alka, the guidance is not only for the design field. Our expertise, like IDF's, is on design and user experience. Our expertise is on growing businesses. Okay, so whether that's in the design field or other fields, our expertise is to help you grow a small business and a structured, scalable business. So you get expert guidance. The second thing you get is accountability. So we actually have a support system of entrepreneurs and experts who hold you accountable to applying the learnings that you get in our sessions and actually make sure that you go after your goals and get into your comfort zone as well, and they hold you accountable. And finally, we've tried our level best to make it as affordable as possible, because we are going after a democratized strategy where we want to help as many clients as possible, because it's part of our mission. We couldn't try and be premium pricing and help 10,000 entrepreneurs. It just doesn't work that way, right? So I'll tell you a little bit about how HQ works in the next maybe 4 or 5 minutes, and then I'll take questions. The first thing is we have a weekly session, a coaching call called Thinkerspace Live. Every week, like I said, we have an expert who comes in and breaks down a particular business area that can help you straight away within your entrepreneurial journey. Okay. Twice a month, that's me. Twice a month, that's other domain experts who come in and run these sessions. Okay. Basically, over a year-long membership, you will get obviously 52 weeks in a year. You will get 52 group coaching calls that you can be a part of. There are domain experts. And when I say domain experts, there will be an expert in organic Instagram growth, in how to automate processes within your business, how to do accounting and taxes, right? All the business related things that any entrepreneur has to understand to do. We bring in those experts as well. You will also, all of these sessions are recorded and you get access to the entire library of all past recordings and any sessions you might miss. And if I say so myself, we've organized it quite well so that you can go to find your way to a particular topic quite easily. So if at any point in time you're thinking about how do I run a great sales call, you can immediately go to the recording of sales call and get access to that as well. Okay. As part of these sessions, every session ends with a particular action you have to take or a challenge you have to take on. And then the community and the experts within the community hold you accountable to completing these challenges so that you actually apply them to your business. This is an example of what we are actually doing in November. So every month's calendar comes out at the start of the month. We actually earlier today, I ran a sales call role play where I broke down for our entire community how to run the ultimate sales call. And they practiced it with each other. And the challenge for the week is to do 3 practice runs within the community and then run it for one prospective client and share the results. And we hold them accountable to that. Next week, we have our tax and accounting expert come in because popular demand of the community as we're coming towards the end of the year in advance, they wanted to be clear about their taxes and accounting. So we have that expert. I'm going through different ideation techniques on how you can solve different problems. Another community is hosting a co-working party where the community just comes together and co-works on a particular aspect of their business. And I actually had an opportunity 2 months ago I was invited to do a TED Talk. And so what I'm doing, again, by popular demand of the community, is I'm breaking down how to write your TED Talk or design your business story so that you can be compelling and actually make sure that people are intrigued or curious about what you're doing, how you're doing it, and you can share your particular story as well. So that's an example of the type of sessions we run every single week. Okay. The second thing you have access to is a pocket companion. The idea of this was very simply, I asked my team one day, what if every entrepreneur had a companion in their pocket so they don't feel lonely at any point in time on their entrepreneurial journey? So what we created is a platform where you can connect with our entire community, get 24/7 access to business support, and have a platform where you can test out any part of your business, get feedback, ask questions, get answers. If you're uncertain about how to reply to an email, you can get the experts answering it as well. So you get on-demand feedback. Here's a screenshot of our platform and the type of questions. So someone's asking how do they figure out pricing, and the experts start putting in responses. But actually, instead of showing you one screenshot, I can actually, for a second, just show you what the Pocket Companion looks like. This is the platform on desktop. It's available on phone as well. As you can see here, we have an accountability channel where the community holds each other accountable to the different challenges that they have. We have a collaborate channel. So any project you have, you can find collaborators. From designers to copywriters to media outlets, everyone within the community. The most popular channel is our Get Unstuck channel, which is literally any question you have, you can get answered. Okay, so from questions about how do I schedule Instagram posts to how do I deal with lives within a team, how do I get published, figuring out Shopify, whatever questions you have, you can just note down your questions over here and our community of experts will give you the answers within 12 to 24 hours. Normally, it's much quicker. I say 12 to 24 hours, but sometimes questions have been over the weekend, so that obviously takes a bit longer. And finally, what you have is member benefits. So what we have done is we are experts in giving you guidance, support on your entrepreneurial journey, but we are not the experts on providing services. So what we've done is we've tied up with different service organizations that we actually work with and that entrepreneurs need. And they have given attractive discounts to our members. So essentially, you get benefits worth above 2 lakhs over the course of the year. We have a bunch of different partners, like it says on the screen, and you get discounts at everything Jigsaw does in the future. I've just put a screenshot up here of our top 5 most popular member benefits right now to give you an idea of the type of people we partner with. So Business Press does Instagram promotions. So you pay a Business Press, they have 100,000 followers, and you can actually get your profile published on Instagram, LinkedIn, their website, their publication everywhere, and you get a discount. You get a discount with accounting and tax support. You get $1,000 credit because we're part of the official Miro startup program. Jigsaw is an official partner. So if you sign up with Jigsaw, you get $1,000 credit to use Miro, which is a visual collaboration tool that designers absolutely love. Networking now is a networking community, and WeWork, we get up to 30% off on any co-working solution at WeWork Pan India, if you are a Jigsaw member. Okay. Just to give you an example, these were the community members that onboarded over the last week, 2 weeks, just to give you a picture. We have 50 members within the community at this point in time that are very supportive of each other. These were the 8-9 that onboarded just last week. Okay, so as you can see, it's a combination of people across different fields. You will have other designers like Bhushan, who runs a design agency, like Sajeda, who's a designer herself. There will be people within your space who provide domain expertise. There will also be people you can collaborate with, like digital marketing studios, influencer marketers, publications, media houses, etc., who you can collaborate with. And you can get perspective from people who run different types of small businesses that require your services. So a lot of people actually find their clients within the community as well, especially when they do services, because that's the type of community we have. Okay. These are Jigsaw power thinkers. These are the experts in the community. These are people who've been running their businesses for a while, are experts in their space, and have been growing and building businesses for 3+ years with incredible results, and have been part of the Jigsaw community for more than 3 years as well. So are really supportive and have stayed in the community to give back to the community. And so they answer a lot of the questions that people have within the community whenever expert input is required, apart from me as well. Okay. So basically, in summary, we have the Pocket Companion, which is digital support for the year. We have Thinkerspace Live, which is a weekly group coaching call every single week. And we have different types of member benefits that are constantly growing every single week. Okay. As you can see, the value of that is quite incredible over the course of the year. But as I told you, our strategy is to democratize and make sure most people can afford this. So a 1-year membership with Jigsaw HQ is only 12,500 for the entire year. Okay.